What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to the JTFB YouTube channel and on the show, Taking Command with Josh Taylor. Obviously, we have some big news that has come out the last few days, and that is that Sam Howell is getting his first NFL start. And of course, I'm excited. You know, Sam Howell's my guy. Loved him at North Carolina. Got to spend a lot of time with him at the Senior Bowl throughout that whole week, just really talking to him about life, outside of football, like his religion, his family, and stuff like that. But then also his career throughout North Carolina and just really what he was working on for the pros. And honestly, he was always my guy for the wish list of someone that I wanted Washington to draft at quarterback to maybe possibly one day get us out of this quarterback purgatory that we've been stuck in for a very long time. And of course, we drafted him in the 5th round, traded back, got some extra picks, worked out just fine for Washington. But obviously, there's still a question mark as to what Sam Howell will be as a pro quarterback, and that is okay. I am okay with a wild card, with an unknown, with a high upside potential kind of guy in the quarterback room. It is not a 30-year-old journeyman or a backup XFL quarterback that was 7-9 last year, then took us on this win streak this year, and then ran out of magic. It is a young rookie that has the potential to maybe be the future for Washington. Can he be? I don't know. People are saying, oh, he was a 5th round pick for a reason, blah, blah, blah. This guy was a consensus top 5 pick before the season started. He was up there with Sauce Gardner, Derek Stingley Jr., some of those guys, Aiden Hutchinson. He was supposed to be one of those top 5 guys. And people will tell you that he had a bad last season at North Carolina. He didn't. And I'm not going to get too much into, the depth of Sam Howell because I did a video on him, literally the very first video on this channel, almost exactly a year ago to the date, which is wild. It's at like 6,000 views right now, but breaking down his tapes, his pros and his cons, did a draft profile. Sam Howell was the one guy last year that I studied and watched the most. I watched every single game of his at North Carolina. And yes, there was some bad, and yes, there was some good. I went to a couple of his games live, that Virginia Tech game starting out 2 years or beginning of last year, the very first game at Virginia Tech. It was an ugly game. But he lost Dyami Brown. He lost Daz Newsome, who were his top 2 wide receivers. And then he lost Michael Carter. And then he also lost Javonte Williams at running back. So 80% almost of his production on offense was gone. Josh Downs comes in. He was a wide receiver 3 or 4 on that team in his last in the last year with Dyami Brown and all of them. And then his very first season with Sam Howell, he becomes the 4th ACC wide receiver ever to have over 100 catches in a season. So I'm excited about Sam Howell. And I talked to him about how he really had to change his game in that last season. Ty Chandler comes over from Tennessee as a transfer running back. He has a great year, over 1,000 yards rushing. But for Sam, he really transitioned his game into more of a mobile quarterback and using his legs, breaking tackles, more of this physical kind of running guy. So if you want to see more about his game and watch some tapes and stuff like that, it is the early days of YouTube, Josh. Literally, like I said, a year ago, one of my first ever videos. You can definitely tell I was kind of new to it, but I enjoyed it. I think it was a really good video with a lot of insight. So check it out. But what do I think about him starting this Sunday? Obviously, I love it. I want to see what we have in him. I'm not going into this with expectations of, oh, we're going to win, anything like that. I'm just looking. I'm going to the game. I'm going to watch Sam Howell and just see how he really goes through the game. And I'm all about, game time experience. I think that is something I weigh heavily on my quarterback evaluations in the draft is experience. It's one big reason why I wasn't too big on Trey Lance, just because that experience wasn't there. I love a guy like Justin Herbert, who was at Oregon for such a long time, that can come in and has, going through the game motions, the throwing interceptions, the bouncing back, the bad reads, the bad decisions, knowing when to pull it and run. That's the kind of quarterbacks I like. So I like what Sam Howell did. He had 3 seasons at North Carolina. I was at the preseason game this year when we played the Panthers, and Sam Howell played the second half. It was an exciting game. I posted one big play of his on the channel in the shorts. It's got like 52,000 views. So people love Sam Howell. They're intrigued by the potential. There is nothing more exciting than having a new quarterback. And I tweeted it probably like a week ago. There's nothing more exciting than drafting a quarterback in like the first round. You're like, oh, this is our guy. He's a high draft pick. He's going to be a beast. But it's so exciting until he sucks. Now, what if you draft a guy in the 5th round like Sam Howell, who has the potential? The quarterback draft did not turn out what we thought it was going to be, with Kenny Pickett being the only first-round guy. Then you have like Ritter, Malik Willis, Matt Crowell kind of trickled in. And then Sam Howell's on that back end. And for me, it's a win-win. If he works out, great. He could possibly be the future. I think a lot of what he does really fits this offense. And something we've been hearing a lot about as well is this offense is not very quarterback friendly to really molding around the strengths of the quarterback. I think that's something that needs to be addressed. I think that's what I'm really watching for this Sunday with Scott Turner's. What kind of offense, what kind of game plan is he going to build around this guy who really hasn't had that much practice? Sam was talking to the local media throughout the week and saying, like, this is the first time I threw to Terry. If you remember, Terry wasn't at those mini camps early on with the contract and everything. This was his first time with Curtis Samuel. He was kind of getting back in the groove of everything. He knows De'Ami Brown, obviously, from their college days, and he threw to him in the preseason. Obviously, he knows Jahan Dotson very well just because of the work they did in mini camps and training camps and so on. So I'm excited to see how that really transitions and how Scott Turner can make this easy for him in the very first game where he's not coming in with much experience. And the thing that really bothers me is that Ron Rivera came out and said last week, and I tweeted it, and people come at me like, when did he say that? When did he say that? And I showed you all the screenshot with Josina Anderson that said that if Washington wasn't playing any meaningful football in week 18, meaning if we lost to the Browns, which we did, that they would want to see and evaluate Sam Howell in that week 18 game. So I go into week 18 saying, okay, he's got to be named a starter, like just definitive. Sam Howell starting, he's getting starting reps. It is what it is. Instead, we wake up Wednesday to Taylor Heinicke is going to start. Like, what? What exactly are you going to see out of Taylor Heinicke in this last game that's going to tell you anything about the future of your quarterback room and your football team? I don't see anything. And it took Heinicke going to Ron Rivera and other coaches going to him and saying, Coach, no, Sam Howell needs to start. Sam Howell needs to play. He deserves this one game. One game. So the fact that it took other players and other coaches to come to the head coach and say, Coach, what are you doing? No, Taylor Heinicke should not start on Sunday. That's not the right move. That just baffles me. And it just adds to the list of dysfunction of things that Ron Rivera has done just this season alone. Saying, oh, quarterback is the reason why we're not, with the Eagles and with the Cowboys and the Giants. Well, you have a young guy that has the potential to maybe one day be that guy. So you should be excited to play him. And he said, oh, we've been looking for the opportunity throughout the season. We've been kind of waiting for a lopsided win. Lopsided win, Ron, we can barely get a regular win. We are not the Kansas City Chiefs. You should be getting this guy ready throughout the season. He has not really had reps with starters since back in July. So that alone was concerning. So I really want to see what Sam does with this opportunity. But like I said, I'm not going in there saying, oh, this game is going to tell me a lot about Sam Howell, the NFL quarterback. It's not. It's going to tell you a lot about these coaches and how ready they can get him. I know what kind of arm he has. I know the talent Sam Howell has. Yes, he needs to work on some footwork and stuff like that. But for me, this is the pro league. College football is all RPO, almost 100%. You talk to college guys, even at the Senior Bowl or getting ready for the draft, especially quarterbacks, they say the main thing I'm working on is working under center because that's something you do in the pros. So in college, I'll just give you a quick little example. You are, a couple feet back under the center. You're just reading the defense, looking back and forth. You clap, you take the snap, and you're reading the defense. Your eyes stay level, and you're on the defense the entire time. Running backs coming in, and you have that split second to decide, yep, I'm going to give it to the running back, step back, or no, I'm going to pull it and either do one step, two step, whatever, and find the open guy and do a quick pass or even roll out and run yourself. In the pros, you don't have that. You're not looking eye level with the defense the entire time. Sometimes you are. I think we will run a good bit of RPO on Sunday, but if he does go under center and he has to take that snap and he turns his head and he has to walk backwards and fake the handoff and then reset and come back, and it's just that split second you have to read that defense. So I want to see how well he does that. I want to see how much Scott Turner really uses the RPO, Sam Howell, how much they let him run, because we've seen him be able to create plays with his feet, extend opportunities, and find an open guy downfield. He did it in the preseason. Yes, I know it's against preseason guys, but I want to see what he can do on Sunday. So I'm excited for him, obviously. But you're not going to learn anything from Sam Howell this game. If he has a terrible game, that does not mean that he is just not the answer and he's a terrible quarterback. If he has a flawless game, it tells you, hey, there's something here, but we still don't know. One game does not define all. I hate to tell you, as exciting as it would be, I hope he goes out there and throws for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. But I'm not expecting that. That's not realistic at all. I want this to be a game I could just sit back, watch live, come home, rewatch it on all 22, and just see what his thought process was, what his mechanics looked like, but then also what kind of playbook that Scott Turner was really drawing up for a rookie quarterback. Are we capable of even developing a young quarterback? Because we haven't been able to in the past. I know we haven't tried that many times, but, rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. We couldn't get this offense going with him. So how much of that was us? How much of it was Dwayne? You just don't know. So I'm excited for Sam Howell. I know a lot of people are. Yes, this seems like some meaningful Week 18 game. There's a lot of players on the injury report. I know like Jonathan Allen's out. Jamin Davis is out. And then we've got 3 offensive linemen out. Lucas on the right tackle is out. And then Norwell's possibly out. And then Sadiq Charles, who's more of a depth guy at guard, possibly is out. So I'm expecting, we've got to at least have Sam Cosmi playing every rep. I don't know why he hasn't really been playing. I know he's been banged up a little bit to start the season, but still, we need an offensive line for Sam Howell to even have somewhat of a level equal evaluation on his performance. So appreciate y'all tuning in, but nonetheless, I'm excited for Sam. That's my guy. I'm hype, and I hope he is the future. I would love it, because this draft class really just isn't looking too good for Washington. I think it's more offensive line and corner friendly for Washington, which is still great. And who knows, we might get a whole season of Sam Howell next year and then roll in 2024 saying, hey, do we want Caleb Williams? Do we want Drake May? Do we want Quinn Ewers? One of those guys, because you get a whole year of Sam Howell. I think that's really what it's going to take to see what you have in Sam. But nonetheless, I'm excited. I'll see y'all Sunday at FedEx Field to watch our guy, Sam Howell, get his first NFL rep. See y'all after the game for a recap. Peace.